बिन मांगे सब कुछ है पाया, क्या मांगू फरियाद में। हम तो सदा महफूज हुए हैं दाता तेरी याद में। बिन मांगे सब कुछ है पाया, क्या मांगू फरियाद में। समझता दिल को हमारे, करता मेरी हिफाजत है। तुझ पर ही तो हक है सारे, तू ही मेरी ताकत है। तू ही समझता दिल को हमारे, करता मेरी हिफाजत है। तुझ पर ही तो हक है सारे, तू ही मेरी ताकत है। तू ही सबसे पहले दिल में, बाकी सब है बाद में। हम तो सदा महफूज हुए हैं भगवन तेरी याद में। तू ही सबसे पहले दिल में, बाकी सब है बाद में। हम तो सदा महफूज हुए हैं भगवन तेरी याद में। दिल जो गाता तू वो गजल है, तू ही भरता मुझ में बल है। तुझसे मुकम्मल मेरी सांसें, तू ही जीवन सबका तराशे। दिल जो गाता तू वो गजल है, तू ही भरता मुझ में बल है। तुझसे मुकम्मल मेरी सांसें, तू ही जीवन सबका तराशे। तुमने दी है हर एक खूबी मुझको आशीर्वाद में। हम तो सदा महफूज हुए हैं साहिब तेरी याद में। तुमने दी है हर एक खूबी मुझको आशीर्वाद में। हम तो सदा महफूज हुए हैं साहिब तेरी याद में। इस बदलते दौर में तू ही मेरे मन का सुकून है। दुनिया के इस शोर में तुमने थामा हाथ है मेरा। इस बदलते दौर में तू ही मेरे मन का सुकून है। दुनिया के इस शोर में पाए हैं तुमसे सभी खजाने, मैंने जायदाद में। हम तो सदा महफूज हुए हैं ईश्वर तेरी याद में। पाए हैं तुमसे सभी खजाने, मैंने जायदाद में। हम तो सदा महफूज हुए हैं ईश्वर तेरी याद में। मौला तेरी याद में, या रब तेरी
Om Shanti. Welcome, Aruna Didi. Welcome, our own, very own celebrity, Sister Aruna ji, with us today. And 2 minutes ago, I was thinking that, when I was in studio, I used to tell Baba, Baba, I want to be with Jayanti Didi. Then I said, okay, that's too much. I want to be with somebody who knows Jayanti Didi very closely. And then Baba sent me to her. And it was really the best chapter started for my life that time. And because it's a BK gathering, so I will not tell about these those kind of achievements, but something which like only I can tell, means because I live with her 24 hours, and she's really an embodiment of love, embodiment of discipline, and I can really assure you that whatever she shares, it's always from the heart. And she makes sure that whatever she shares, she first practices that. And this is really such a learning lesson for me. I was always telling Baba, I want to be with somebody who is really somebody who is embodiment of gyan and discipline. And of course I was not ready to come out of my comfort zone, but really Didi always pushes us all, just to the edge. Chalo, more और करना है. And when she is the one who always understands things which actually no one understands, which is my like understanding, that the things which many people hesitate to talk about, she will really makes us open our hearts. And she's very senior. She's 37 years in Gyan, and I'm 40 years of age of this body. She's very senior, but always very humble. Today 9th August, she made sorry, yeah, she made for us a very tasty cake. Just to tell you all that she's very humble. And I can go on actually, Didi, because I don't need any preparation for this introduction.
I think you should stop now.
Yeah, really, I don't need any preparation. I can go on. But yes, really, we are so lucky to have you, Didi, today, and for this very practical topic, which is not touched, I think, ever.
Thank you.
Over to you, Didi.
Thank you, Pavitra.
And we are actually, let's tell everybody, we are just one wall away from each other because she's in quarantine. I'm in classroom, she's in her room. Shanti.
Yes, I'm back in Kuwait and spending time with myself. Thank you, Pavitra. I'll pay you later. No, we're very lucky to have the family we do. I'm lucky to have Pavitra and everybody else who's here, Mona, Sheikha, and all the other students, and even the close brothers who are Sevadharis. So we're very blessed. So yeah, I know. Again, I say this is funny talking to just boxes, but as we said, we are family, and this is a BK talk, and so I'm going to be as open and honest as I can be. And let me say that. Well, we were trying to get other speakers for this week. It wasn't possible. And then Pavitra and I just decided, okay, I haven't shared for a while. I've been away. And so that's how this talk came about. And then also I thought, well, I don't just want to talk about, another stage or another power. And then this is something that I've kind of encountered over the last few months, talking. Is something I think many of us, and as I said, I will also be honest as much as I can with my stories. So it's okay to admit our vices as well. And actually, I always see it, and I've said this many times in my talks, that anytime something happens, let me see what is it that I have to learn through this. And if I step into that place of what it is that I have to learn, then I make progress. You see, if I always enter a situation thinking they have to change, then I don't learn anything. I come out of it empty-handed. And so if I feel, okay, what is it that I've learned or had to learn or am learning, and then I'll make note of that. Okay, and as I make note of that, then yes, I progress. So let me begin with some of my slides, and I'll come back to my screen, but I want to share. I did a quick PowerPoint, but Vitra helped me a bit. And let me go back, where are we? Yeah. And yeah, I'm just going to share with you, because there's a lot of points. Once we started to churn it, there were a lot of points. So you are screen sharing now? Yeah, Pavitra? Am I sharing the screen?
You are sharing.
Okay. So play from start. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So here we are. Yeah. So let's say the Lockic definition of dealing with the midlife crisis. This is the Lockic definition from a dictionary, which is the loss of self-confidence and feeling of anxiety or disappointment that can occur in early middle age. So they normally say, well, it could be 30, 40, I guess it could be 50 if you haven't dealt with some of your issues, which I'll talk about later. But basically, sometimes people say, is it that you're going through stuff and that's why it's a midlife crisis, or is it midlife and then it's a crisis? So again, I think I asked you to bring pen and paper. So in between, as I ask some of these questions, you can jot your answers down for yourselves, and maybe you get some clarity in your life. But if we apply this now to Brahmin life, well, for a start, we don't know what is our full age, right? Because we don't know when we're going to leave our body. So what was my middle age? Yes, now I'm in Gyan, like proper Gyan, say 37 years. I've known Gyan for 45, 46 years. But I always say it's the day I started all the discipline. So 37 years, so what's the half of that? 15, 16? So after 15 years of Gyan, is that my middle age? Or is it still my crisis now? But let's not get into that so much as this feeling of maybe reassessing the self, feeling lack of self-confidence, questioning things, which I'll come to now, midlife crisis. So this is really what we want to look at. If you're feeling any of these things, okay, let's go through them one by one. So questioning the self, what I mean here is that, yeah, there comes a time where I'm questioning, am I at this place, at the country or the center, or with these people? Later, I'll also talk about role. Is this my role? Is this what I should be doing? And it's not about just being in the center. Yeah, I'm not just talking to people who live in the center. I'm talking about people, Brahmin, students, right? Everywhere, anywhere. Then we can lose interest, and unhappiness is actually a big cause of crisis in Brahmin life. In other words, we lose happiness, and as soon as we lose happiness, there is depression. And actually all of this, I realized, is depression. That's why I haven't labeled it as one thing, as one title. But losing interest in knowledge is a really big misfortune, actually. Not appreciating what I have, and really losing that sense of value of, wow, it's me, but God is teaching me, Baba's with me, Baba's helping me to become perfect. And so loss of interest, losing happiness is kind of, I see it on the same scale, same bandwidth. Jealousy is a big one. Again, you're making effort, maybe you're not getting the same service opportunities as others. Others seem to be moving forward in your eyes, maybe because of opportunity, maybe they are closer to the seniors. Anyway, jealousy could be for a number of reasons, but we'll come to solutions for all these things, just to become aware of what are the crises right now. Yeah, I've got about 3 slides on this. Comparing myself with others. Comparing myself with others, again, roles, comparison. And we can sometimes say, I came into Gyan the same time, I went to the same retreat, and why are they getting more attention than me? Or comparing myself in terms of not getting enough love. Attention is one thing, love is another, respect is another. So we have to be mindful of that. Putting on weight, losing weight, some of the physical aspects, like there are Brahmins who kind of lose sense of self. They say this is becoming body conscious if I'm looking at my scale all the time. So then they just eat what they want and do what they want, thinking, well, I've given up so many things. Let me at least, eat what I want, because I've sacrificed so many other things. So either putting on weight or losing weight, which is again losing sense of self, losing care for the self. Boredom is a big one. And I remember going through boredom in Turkey, actually. So although I love Turkey so much, but on a spiritual side, because the family was small, there was not much happening in those days. This is like late 90s. And I remember being bored, and I remember telling Dadi, I remember phoning Sister Jayanti and Dadi and saying, I'm feeling really bored. And they try to do their best to encourage you and inspire you and tell you how great you are. But once you put the phone down, again, you're with yourself and you have to find ways. So I used to go out for a walk 3 times a day because we lived right by the sea. This was the road and this was the sea. And so I used to walk several kilometers and 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Physical pain, and we all know how mind and body are related. So you find suddenly maybe some pain comes from somewhere. And we all know that physical is related to the mental. So what this means is if there's something happening in some part of my body, then it has a mental correlation. So hips is definitely feelings and emotion, back is support, knees, elbows is inability to bend, be flexible, be humble. It's all correlating. Eyes, if you're losing eyesight like I am, yes, we're not seeing certain things, not willing to see certain things. So things begin to happen, right? Also with age, physical pain begins, and then, we don't know how to deal with it. Sometimes Brahmins sleep too much. Sometimes Brahmins don't sleep enough. And again, let me say that, well, yogis are meant to sleep less. Why is it that we need so much sleep? So it could be that we're not eating the right diet, or we're eating too much sugar. And we have to look at all this. Everything is in balance. Everything is in connection, in association. We can't just say it's one thing. Yes, I also have to look at my thoughts. Am I thinking too much? Am I trying to do too much? Too many ambitions that are keeping the mind active, which is why I'm not able to sleep. And of course, physical, it could be hormonal. We'll come to menopause as well. Questioning our role. So is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Sometimes say somebody's ending up in the kitchen all the time cooking. They say, well, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? I want to be up front. I want to be teaching. I want to be using my intellect, not just my hands. Sometimes you can be stuck in a retreat center with a role or something like that. Or sometimes I'm also thinking of people who have a certain speciality. And so then everybody always says to them, okay, you go do this because this is your speciality. Like go and meet the municipality or go meet the government, or, and sometimes they don't want to do that. So there comes a point in time where we say, okay, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Attraction, falling in love. This is very common. Again, nobody faces it. No, I don't want to say nobody faces it. I want to say very few face it up front and say, yeah, okay, you know what? There is a hole in me. I have to look at that, which is why I'm being attracted to the other person. So this can be male or female. What I mean is a female can be attracted to a female because of their qualities, or a female can be attracted to a male because, yes, because they have certain qualities that this soul is needing. But again, to not resist that and to look at it, I'm not saying to go through the motions, but I'm saying that not to lie to ourselves that no, nothing's there, because it's always obvious to everybody else except ourselves. Everybody else can see that this person is in love with this person, except, you know, these two people who are in love with each other. And then it becomes like this big elephant in the room. And it's hard to talk about it. It's hard to tell somebody. And it's hard for the person to talk about it when they're in love with somebody. But the point is, let's go back to why it's happening. What is the cause? What am I not getting enough of from the family, from Baba, which is making me want this attention from this person? Codependency. And what I mean here is, again, being dependent on certain people. We feel like we can't do things ourselves. And so we want support. So it could be physical help. Yeah, sometimes we want people to cook for us, to help us with our stuff physically, or even wanting help with, you know, official papers. Sometimes we think we don't know how to do it, we're not competent. But also emotional codependency, where sometimes we feel, oh, this is my special one that I can go and talk to and they will understand me. And again, really, are they the special one, or is it Baba? Or is it sometimes, yes, we can, but then can we detach as easily from this person? So sometimes is it that we have this subtle crutch, we say, we think, okay, if nobody, this person is there for us. So even that thought that there's somebody physically there to help us, I think is not right, because it's not full dependency on Baba. Yes, we can take help, and we have everybody around us. I have everybody around us. But can I be also self-sufficient? If they're not there, can I manage it? Or do I collapse? Or do I panic? Or do I get anxious? Or am I lost? You see, this is the stuff we have to look at. Doubting the self and Baba. So basically, yeah, I mean, it's not just Baba, but sometimes certain points. I have known so many Brahmins to leave because they doubted certain aspects of Gyan. And I feel that they left and they made that the excuse, actually, because they believed in that for so many years and they lived by it, you see? And then why suddenly they say, oh, well, I don't believe in the drama cycle. I don't believe it repeats, or I don't believe in, waking up so early. I'm losing my sleep. I'm losing my health. I don't believe in all this karma yoga. It's doing my back in. I mean, initially we believed in it and we took so much happiness from it. So why the doubt, you see? That's what makes me question, like, if it was working for some time, is it the thing or is it the self? And then, of course, because the relationship with Baba is not cultivated, so then I'm alone. If I don't invest in this relationship with Baba, then there will be this feeling of, it's just me, right? And so then I don't feel Baba's support. So you're walking this path, which is a very elevated path. It is a very difficult path. And you're left feeling that, you're doing it on your own. And so that makes it feel very difficult. And so, yeah, we are lost, we feel like, what am I doing? And menopause, but I've got another slide for that, let me come to that and the spiritual menopause. Feeling stuck. So yeah, I can neither move forward nor backwards. And feeling stuck here means, I mean, in my spiritual effort. I don't mean like getting, recognition or celebrity status or whatever. I'm saying like feeling stuck in my effort. I'm feeling like I'm not connecting with Baba. I'm feeling like I'm not getting joy from the service. I'm not able to do the dharna. I'm not always getting the click, the aha moments from the gyan. And yeah, so this kind of makes me feel, is it worth it? Should I continue or not? And then nobody listens to me. Nobody listens to you. Like what I mean here is, again, you're getting senior in Gyan, but if nobody's listening to you, you question yourself. You say, well, they should be listening to me, right? I have some authority, I have some experience, so why isn't it happening? Constantly getting angry. So as we were journeying this, Pavitra said, Didi, you should do a whole seminar on anger. And it's true. I mean, I think we forget that it's not just the anger in the moment. We're not just getting angry with the thing that's happening in front of us. The anger is already inside of us. And we're angry because of something much greater, something much deeper in the soul. And this thing that happens, it just triggers that anger. So for example, if something like, say, Pavitra didn't do something and then I get angry with her, it's not about Pavitra not doing that thing. It's about things not working in my life. So somewhere deep in the soul, maybe there's an experience that nothing's working in my life, or things didn't go the way I wanted them to go in my life. And that's why then this irritation is still there. And so when something similar comes up, I relate and I say, see, another thing's not working in my life. And then I react. So anger is a very deep emotion. We always say that anger is a secondary emotion. You don't just get angry sitting there. Anger just doesn't come from nowhere. Anger is triggered by something much deeper in the self. So again, a lot of self-checking and looking and seeing what is the root cause. Why am I losing my peace? What's going on? And then getting tired, burnt out, being overactive. Again, I think from, again, my experience, I will say that, yeah, I was afraid to look inside. And so I spent a lot of time doing external things. Because if I keep myself busy, then I have an excuse not to look inside. So now I am busy. I mean, but it's been some years actually. The last 10, 15 years, I have paid more effort, and I have lots of books, notebooks, and I, I look at myself. It's not just the churning that you see on the blog, but a lot of self-reflection. And I don't spend that much time, but I'm looking at things. I'm asking myself questions. Why am I doing that? What's happening? What's going on? What do I want? So getting burnt out, yeah, is, I mean, as Baba says, really, if I do something in soul consciousness, if I do it with love, then I shouldn't really be burnt out, right? There should be the joy of the seva. So again, I need to look at, am I doing it from the right place? Am I doing it in soul consciousness? Am I doing it for God, or am I doing it for somebody else? Because everything in the yajna actually is physical. There's a lot of physical stuff. I mean, even when we give these talks, okay, we sit and prepare mentally, but there's all this other physical stuff to set up. So there is a lot of physical work in the yajna, which is why I had put the brothers in Pandavavan in the kitchen. But still, you see, those yogis spend a lot of time working on the self, having good quality yoga, and then you're not feeling as tired. So dealing with resentment is the next point. What I mean here is sometimes maybe questioning, Did I do the right thing? Did I come into Gyan for the right reason? Could I have done something else with my life? And that's only because, again, I think we're not seeing the progress. We're not happy with the progress. And then I see my friends out there, and they've become something. They've become ministers or astronauts, or, you know, what we consider as great professions. And here I am washing dishes in the center. So there could be this feeling of, did I do the right thing? Lack of patience. What I mean here is, of course, everything is Gyan. We have to use a lot of Gyan with ourselves. But we lose patience with what we're doing. And there was always this very nice WhatsApp picture where, you know, somebody's digging for the diamonds in the mines. And so one person, he gives up, but he's just like seconds away from actually getting the diamonds. And the other one perseveres. So this is a really good point that, you know, I know that patience is something I need to learn, and I'm really working on that, because I like things to happen like this. I feel like if I have a thought, it should happen, but everybody's not always with me, and then I lose my patience. And not only that, but sometimes things have to happen per time, per drama. So I have to learn the patience, that it has to take time. So yeah, once I am able to apply the patience, again, there's more peace in the soul. But anyway, I'll come to solutions. There's lots of solutions. Lack of tolerance and resilience power. So this is always a big one too, because again, there's not enough power in the soul. So we're not able to tolerate. And actually, I always feel that lack of tolerance is the main reason for a lot of conflict in our relationships. Like, we just can't tolerate the other person, what they're doing, how they're doing it. And so we say something, we say it with a tone, we react even with our body language. So this is really lacking. And I think one of the seniors was saying it is always tolerance with people. Like, for example, now in Beirut, you see, because it wasn't an earthquake, if it was an earthquake, everybody would have just maybe accepted it peacefully. But now, because it was like humans involved, somebody had stored this, what is it, nitrogen, is it? Anyway, somebody had stored this stuff there, and now the question rises, well, who stored it and why did they store it? And so now we're questioning people's actions, but we won't question nature's actions. So tolerance is always to do with relationships, actually. And then getting caught up in the drama of others. Well, caught up in the drama, but also drama of others. And what I mean here is, like, maybe we just get too caught up in trying to help somebody too much, not learning to detach, not learning to separate ourselves emotionally from that. And we make their drama into our drama, and then we end up being in a mess. So again, we need to use Gyan, clarity. Anyway, let me come to that. Yeah, I also want to mention that, you know, there's so much change that we need to adapt to now. And maybe there's more. Maybe you can help me with this list as well. But, you know, ever since like Bapdada's meeting stopped, you know, we found that less and less Brahmins from the West were going to Madhuban. So maybe all our friends are not there at the same time. The group is much smaller. It's not the old days anymore. Like, I remember going to Madhuban and it was just Pando Bhavan, and it was amazing. Like, we were sleeping on top of Dadi Kumarka's room, and there were so many dadis. We would go and say good morning to every dadi. We would get ready by like 10 to 6. And then we'd go say good morning to Dadi Ratanmani, Dadi Manohar, Dadi Kumarka, Dadi Prakashmani, Dadi Janki, and even Sheel Dadi. Sheel Dadi used to stay in the training section. I was quite close to her. So every dadi, and then one by one they're leaving, and Madhuban gets empty and empty. So yeah, we're adapting to that. We're adapting to now no more Dadi Gulzar in front. We have a screen. And a lot of people now preferring online, being sitting at home and watching. Again, after, Ball started, Baba Online started, a lot of people said, well, I can see Baba from here. Why to go through the hassle of travel and accommodation and taxis and the heat and the food, the chili food, and the lines and the queues. So, they kept seeing all that was not working. But yeah, we see all that as well, but we make the effort to go and just be with Baba, to be in that atmosphere. Seniors leaving, what I mean by this is, well, of course we know, right? As I said, Dadi's leaving, but Dadi Janki leaving has left a big hole. Dadi Gulzar not being in our picture has left a big hole, big impact. So they're not even available for us to call, to ask, to clarify. So now we're being left to make our own decisions, our own choices. Now COVID steps in. Yeah, COVID steps in, and COVID also now imposes certain rules, guidelines. Even regarding Madhuban now, we don't know Madhuban season. Let's wait and see who's allowed, if we're allowed, and how that's going to happen. Also, we saw a lot of Brahmins leaving the body the last couple of years, including Dadis, but also Brahmins and some senior Brahmins. So again, that makes us, we have to look at our, let's say, mortality. And just coping with fast change. Everything is just changing so fast. Even nations, countries, and of course dealing with our old age. Every Brahmin is getting old. Even in London, they constantly have this discussion. Every Brahmin is getting older and older. So I thought it's relevant to mention this actually. I don't know if some of you are aware of it, but this is called Saturn return. And I'm mentioning it because, I'm not always into astrology myself, but I do believe in, I do believe that, these things do affect us, even though, yes, we make effort to go beyond them. But until we go beyond them, the planets and the energy of the planets, just to be mindful that there are other energetic forces around us that also influence us. So Saturn return is when you are born, Saturn is at a particular point. And so Saturn return is when Saturn comes back to the same point as when you took birth. And that happens approximately every 29.5 years, right? 29.5 years. So if you look at your life, right, many of you can see your life, and I can tell you about mine as well in a minute. What did you make any major shifts in your life between, say, 27 to 31? Because although Saturn will come back to the same point at 29.5 years, the effect of it can begin from age 27. And then second Saturn return is between 56 and 60, and then 84 to 90. So for me, I remember I was in London and everything was fine and stuff. And, but yeah, I was doing a lot. In fact, I was managing a lot. I was with Sister Jayanti and Dadi. And that is the time then I realized that I needed a break. And I went to Vancouver. So what Saturn return does basically is it brings up to the surface issues that you have not been dealing with, that you have kind of swept under the carpet, and it brings it up for you to address to yourself. So as I said, just look at your lives at that time. Maybe you're going through a second one. So basically this one is moving from childhood to adulthood, then adulthood to maturity, and then maturity to, let's say, wise age. Okay, so there's something to be mindful of. All we're saying here is that just to be aware that, yeah, the planets will force you to make certain changes. That's the point. And you will be forced to look at things in your life that you haven't addressed already. And that was the case with me. Like, I needed space, I needed time, but I just kept myself busy. And then I finally had to make that shift and then look at myself. So yes, we're talking about menopause too. So menopause also has an effect on people. I mean, physical menopause. And menopause is a time really where the hormones are saying to the body, okay, you know what, this is the last time now. This is the last time for you to have children, for you to have family. And so, yes, women may start to feel themselves getting attracted to men also to women, because it's the body saying, okay, go make some babies now. Otherwise, you'll be a loner. So again, we have to be mindful of that, plus the feelings that come up. I mean, I'm not a doctor. I'm sure we have doctors online who could maybe make better reference to this. But what I do want to say is spiritual menopause is, if you see that the hormones are things that are making the body function, then what is it that is making the soul function? So I'm assuming it's Gyan, Yog, Dharana, Seva. This is what keeps us active. And Baba says these have to be in balance. Gyan, Yog, Dharana, Seva. And if I'm off balance, so if I'm too much into Seva or too much into Gyan, where I love to research and do these spark experiments, and I mean, whatever, I'm just saying, if I'm too much lopsided to one side and not keeping the balance, then yeah, I need to look at that as well. So what helps me is another question for you. What helps me maintain the internal balance? You have to ask yourself this question. What helps me maintain? Are we taking the support from outside or inside? So what I mean by that is my internal soul, yeah? Or is it external, like doing things and being busy in that? Okay, so here's a bunch of solutions now. We just go through these quickly. Yeah, so again, from my experience, it's not just a list, but I did look at each one and say, does this work? And I had to say yes. So, of course, first I would say Baba's love and yoga power, really. This is the key to everything. This is the key to everything. If my love is not there, if my love with Baba, which means the connection, is not there, like Dadi was saying, yoga means connection, yoga means union, yoga means love, and love means yoga. So, and Baba had said too, if there is yoga, then there is sayog, there is cooperation. So if I'm like Dadi always used to say, it's because I love Baba, you love me. Anytime anybody would say, Dadi, I love you, she said, yes, because I love Baba. And it's so true, right? So really, what are we without Baba's love and without that connection? So first thing to do is to get this in place and say, okay, what is the quality of my yoga? Is it good? Could it use with a little more coal where the fire can get a bit more intense? And let me revive. And I've had to do this a number of times with Baba, where it's not that maybe I feel a bit distant, but it's not, I'm still there. I'm doing everything. I'm in the center, but we get so busy. And yeah, we meet him in the morning and then meet him at night. And so again, I've been trying to make that effort to in between, and this unity bhakti, I'm really trying to make an effort to be there for that and really send vibes to others who need it, and really trying to make sure I program my time around it. And of course, yeah, in the daytime, the traffic control helps. So make sure the traffic control is working. honoring our feelings. So what I mean about here is, you know, firstly, I think we've really got to sit with ourselves and say, yeah, I feel this way. And not to, again, avoid or deny and say, no, 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 no. Like if I'm feeling I don't want to do something, if I'm feeling like I'm tired, I'll come to tiredness as well again. But whatever I'm feeling, let me just sit with it. This is the point. Don't just brush it off and say, no, 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 you shouldn't feel this way. Just sit with the feeling. And in meditation, I've done this. And I did a lot of this feeling work when I was in Vancouver. And I really noticed, and this is the thing with working with these things, that you realize that it's not a big thing. It's like I told you before when I talked about conflict, I told you when you deal with conflict, when you really look at the conflict, you realize it's not a big deal. Just communicate, just have good wishes, pure feelings, and it's okay. So as we look into these things, it makes us feel more and more comfortable in addressing them, and it gives us the power and the confidence to address them. So I was saying, yeah, so in Vancouver, I would sit, because of course, then I left London, I went through a bunch of other feelings, and I would just sit with the feeling. And you know what, you realize that the feeling is more in your head. It doesn't actually exist. But with our thoughts, we have made this feeling so big. So maybe it's fear, maybe it's insecurity, maybe it's anxiety. And if you just sit with it and just breathe through it and just see it, say, yeah, I'm afraid. Okay, what am I afraid of? It's okay. What am I afraid of? And just sit through it. And really, it will dissipate. And then that feeling doesn't have power over you. Of course, there are different feelings, but this is one way to do it. Other feelings may need to actually be looked at. Okay. Yeah, let time reveal. Trust drama. This is another thing. Like, not everything is being revealed to me right now in my life. So I need to really wait and trust. So whether it's about myself, whether it's about the center, whether, you know, it's about a retreat center. I mean, we're always dealing with these issues here. And sometimes we just have to wait and let drama reveal. We've done all that we could. And then we just have to allow drama. And this is where really we have to make drama our best friend. Drama, mother. Drama, my mother. Okay, I want to mention, yes, silence power, how that helps. And I've seen Sister Mohini actually get into this over the last several years. And I can see how she's been using silence power as a way not to avoid things, but to really empower herself. And in that silence, we're able to, what's the word? Not just adventure, but to explore. Explore is a good word. In that silence power, I'm able to explore certain parts of myself that I wouldn't have done otherwise. And let me tell you also, I used to be afraid of silence. Every time, I mean, growing up in Gyan, they used to hold these silence days and stuff. And I really didn't like it. In fact, I used to run away. And then, of course, even as an adult, a young adult, I didn't like it. And in fact, it used to make me get angry because I used to think it's a forced silence. And especially when people started to be in silence and then they're like, And I used to think that's not really silence. Like, silence means nothing, no communication. Silence means don't want anything. If it comes to you, fine. Otherwise, like silence, silence, like absolute silence. I was always absolute. So what I'm saying is then over time, trying to give it a chance, I started to love silence. I started to love being with myself. And it really does help. It really does help because in that silence, you build a relationship with yourself. And again, you're making yourself more self-independent, not dependent. Okay, honesty. What I mean about honesty is just to be, and not to pretend to be anything. That's why, as you hear Pavitra, like, I don't try to be like a big sister. I think many of you on the group here will know that I just try to be like a friend. I try to be like a sister. I mean, she says I'm a senior. I don't really consider myself a senior. I mean, I don't think it's about being senior. I think it's about being genuine and honest with your effort, and to be honest with myself. So that's why actually what you get from me is honesty. If I don't like it, I don't like it. If I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it. And yes, sometimes people have seen that as my weakness, but sometimes I see it as my strength, because you get what you see rather than, you know, two-faced. So, but anyway, main thing is really honesty with the self. And this has really helped me. I've been honest with myself. I've been honest with the seniors about all my mayas along my way, and I've never hid that from them. So this is what I'm saying. Like, I think it really pays off because you have nothing to hide. You have nothing to be scared about. Of course, humility, we know humility here meaning too also, like, it just helps to be humble, because if I'm not humble, that means I'm really rigid. And if I'm rigid, I will hurt myself. So if I'm rigid, I'm also not able to see another side, right? Because I'm just too fixated on one angle. So humility to say, okay, what's the other side? What's the other, other thing? What's another way to do it? Especially when you're with your juniors and they have other ideas, then yeah, just be flexible. Okay, so take frequent breaks. I mean, I don't take frequent breaks, but I do take breaks in the sense of I am with good company, but I'm away from, let's say, my usual routine. But luckily for me, I travel a lot. So that in itself is a break. But what I mean here is it's really good to sometimes come out of what you're doing and step into something unknown, or to step into something different, because it just gives you a different perspective. And this is where COVID has really helped, I think. A lot of people have told me how they've just enjoyed this time, because it's actually taken them away from the usual, the routine, the monotony. And when we look at things in a different way, it does help. It helps us to see things in a different light. And so we change our mindset, we change the way we approach it. Treat yourself. So treat yourself here means maybe treat yourself to a massage, treat yourself to, I don't know, a salt foot bath, or that's what I mean. Like, be kind to yourself. That's what I mean here. Treat yourself. Or make yourself a nice meal, like with friends, family. Just, yeah, be kind to yourself, really. And if nobody's being kind to you, you be kind to yourself. And this is, again, another good thing that I think my mom instilled in all of us sisters is we're not tired, or we don't, we love to cook, and we don't hesitate, treating ourselves to good food. And good food doesn't have to be expensive food. All I mean is taking the time to prepare it and eating it with love. That's what I mean. Reinvent yourself again. Yes, take the time. Ask yourself the questions. Am I doing what I should be doing? Or do I need to maybe add more skill set? Do I need to add more virtues to the soul? It's always useful to look at the self and say, yeah, let me not be shy about reinventing myself. And I've seen Brahmins do this also, not just physical career, but also spiritual seva. Discipline timetable, right? So Baba always says this, doesn't he? That this is what Baba said to Dadi Janki, actually, when she moved from India to Madhuban. India to London. And Baba said to her, you will create the same timetable as Madhuban. When she asked, what will I go and do there? So Baba said, you will create mini Madhuban and you will create the same timetable that we have in Madhuban. And that's what Dadi did. And that's been her survival. And there was also another person who had asked, there was another child who had asked Baba, Baba, how can I get my self-respect back? And Baba said, are you following Srimad? Srimad is the way to get our self-respect back. So this is tied in with the timetable. So newness and inspiring enthusiasm. So Pavitra wanted me to share with you. So sometimes I paint things as I'm sitting, attending my meetings. So I love painting mugs because I think it's a very practical thing to be doing. And sometimes I put somebody's name, or sometimes I just put a virtue. Plus I have the artist sketch pad. So yeah, this is thanks to Michelle, the artist who had stayed with us for a few years. But I feel like, yeah, what's helped me in Brahmin life is to always create some newness in terms of my effort, in terms of my churning. And I think we have to find new ways of looking at knowledge. We have to find new ways of looking at the Murli. How are we listening to the Murli? In what relationship? Today, be Baba in this relationship, then tomorrow Baba in another relationship. And this is how we create enthusiasm. And that's how I've got my creativity always going with the meditation lab or the meditation commentaries. Just trying to see things in a new light. And this really helps. This really helps the soul. And then to go back to basics means, well, same thing really, the timetable, going back to what really matters. And that is soul consciousness. Sorry, I don't know what the time is. Let me just check. Wow. Okay. It's almost still a way to go. Sorry, Pavitra?
8:30.
Oh, okay. Let me go through these quickly. Then I've got a few souls who are going to share. Yeah, I said this already. Reinvent. Time to reveal. I did this. Connect yourself with nature. That's a good one. Yeah. And what I mean about this is I love gardening. We have plants around the house. I love arranging flowers, as you see. And if you don't have flowers, grow something. Did you know, in fact, I'm going to do this once we get the sweet potato. But if you just take a sweet potato, you put a couple of toothpicks, stand it in the bottle with water, and it creates a really nice a vine of leaves. And it's just a beautiful little thing to hang off your desk. But things like that, try to grow. Okay, as I said, question the self, keep good divine company. This is really good. I think it's really good to have good spiritual friendships in Gyan. And I think if we don't have that, we should create it, really. Because good company is always good. I mean, this is our Brahmin family. And within that, I know we will be more comfortable with some than others, but it's always just good to do things in divine company, honestly. So if you're going hiking, if you're going anywhere, traveling, go with divine company. Why to go with Lokix or other company? Introspection, yes, looking at the self. Again, so important. Take time out, be with yourself, be in solitude, be in silence. Of course, let go of expectations. That's a big one, really. This is the thing. If you really want to be happy, let go of expectations. This is really my experience. Don't expect anything from anyone. And this is really my experience. I'm saying it from my heart. There is no free lunch in the world. Nothing is for free. If you take anything from anyone, you will have to pay for it somewhere, somehow. This is really my experience. So honestly, just don't expect anything, and then just keep Baba. Keep Baba as your source of whatever. And if you get something, throw it on Baba. Don't throw it on that person or that situation. No. But really don't think it's, for free. self-acceptance here, again, what I mean is just accepting. Like I go through phases of thinking, oh, I'm looking fat, I feel heavy. But then I say, no, accept the self, it's okay. And, go back to the discipline, go back to the 16/8 diet. So there's a lot of this, not just physical, but also the self. Yeah, okay, I made this mistake. Okay, I said it like this. But then we have to get back to the self. This is where, yeah, we become less critical. And less critical means to, yeah, really love the self, accept the self. So anyway, I've said most of these things. Balance of everything in life. I think not just balance of Gyan, Yog, Dharana, Seva, but balance also of, being in, being out, go for a walk, love nature, be with others, be with the self. Really, we need a balanced life. Can't have extremes of anything. Be kind to the self, positive self-talk. I talked about that. And then finally, faith in self, Baba, drama, and the family. So even though we're going through such phases now with the yagya, but we just have to trust, really, that it's all for the best. And this is what I wanted to say, that, yeah, Corona has woken up the Brahmins who were sleeping. So Corona is Karuna for us. Karuna means compassion. And so I think Corona has had a compassion on everyone. I'm really, yeah, of course, sorry for those who have passed away. But in terms of Brahmins, I think it's woken us up to really realize the value of family, the value of what we were doing, because now even Seva has stopped. So in terms of Brahmin, I think it's made us wake up and make more effort. Okay, so I want to talk about this bridge, finally. This is a bridge. Somebody sent this to me recently. It's called the Choluteca Bridge in Honduras. And it was built, I think, there were 2 bridges built, and this was the second one that was built. And it was built to last. It was built by the Japanese, and there was a river flowing underneath. And what happened is there was that Hurricane Mitch, and that hurricane, it I think gave so much rain in 4 days that it would have done in 6 months. The same amount of rain in 4 days that it would have given in 6 months. And so there was a flood, and it changed the course of the river and even damaged the roads. So as you see, the bridge is there, right? It's built to last, but the river has changed. And so what this is a metaphor for, and I've written an article on it for my blog for next week. And that is that it's built to last, but not built to adapt. And this is what we need to be able to do. You see, we need to be able to adapt to Brahmin life as well. I think the ones that change the most are the ones that will survive. And yeah, just wanted to let you know of a couple of upcoming seminars. If you're interested in that, you'll find these on my blog. And finally, yeah, okay, that's it. There was an Om Shanti, yeah, okay. So let's stop screening, sharing, yeah. So yeah, I had a couple of good people here who are going to share about their experience. So Pavitra and Rajesh and whoever else would like to share something about your midlife crisis or anything that you've done. Pavitra, you can make Rajesh also co-host so he can speak. And why, Pavitra, you'd like to share now first? Pavitra said, I have something to share. So yeah, tell us, Pavitra.
Shanti.
Shanti.
Yes, just one thing, because as you were sharing about this crisis when people go through, BKs. So the funny part is I went through comparing myself, not with any BK, but with my school and college friends. Because, in school, college, we were together, and I was also good in studies. And later on, whenever, in WhatsApp groups, they used to tell, Acha, I am, a scientist. I have become this. I am an author in university. I have written 4 books. and I'm somebody scientist in NASA, these kind of things. And I was thinking, huh, what am I doing? So I was also one among them, and I'm here every day. My schedule is just I'm reading one Murli and talking to 2, 3 people, and then cleaning and cooking. So I used to feel a little depressed inside. And then when I went to like in India for my visa for 2 months, I had to stay at that time. So by chance, it happened that it was my school alumni meet, and they invited me. I said, okay, chalo. So I went there, and I was having these kind of mixed feelings were there. I was thinking, yes, I'm very good, but I think they are very good, huh? This kind of feelings were there that don't know what they are thinking about me. They are saying I'm doctor, I'm IS, I HCS, different kind of, these kind of titles Baba also talk about in movies. They are coming in their cars with red light and, this government big cars. And then later on, after the meet, my few seniors came to me. I remember their names also now. One's name is Preeti and this. So I used to look at them as my ideal in my school days. They were my seniors. And when they came to me to ask for my advice, I was really thinking, Pavitra, can you meet us for a few minutes? And we want to know about your life and take your advice for a few matters. So that time I realized, of course, then I remember Baba and we talked and it was all good. Later on, I realized that yes, whatever I'm doing is good. It's just a phase, it will pass. And of course, it was all the inner work that was lacking. It was, then it was all, it went, then now I'm fine. Om Shanti.
Good. Thank you so much. And Rajesh?
Yeah, Om Shanti, sister. It was, yeah, thank you for having me. First of all, thanks for the opportunity. And yeah, it was really a good session that you shared. It was very comprehensive, I should say, all inclusive. When I think of crisis, right, for my life, I feel Baba has solved a lot of stuff for myself. It's, Baba's content of the Murli, if you'll end up looking, it has all these kind of insecurities and identity issues and all that. He solves a lot by giving us this holistic identity of being a point of light. So that really helps in our life. But regardless of some practical issues that do come up in our lives, like we compare a lot with ourselves, like Pavitra was sharing. That happens, I mean, that has happened to me as well as we go through the journey. And it's natural and we feel empty. We want support from people and what have you not. So, I mean, I was just thinking the solution to that was just Baba keeps using the word like you're an Angad. So that's something stuck in my head, in my mind, I should say. Angad was somebody, a character in Bhakti, that he put his foot down and was very determined what he has to do. It has a lot of connotations. One of them that comes to my mind is Angada, means bifurcates thing, that you give yourself to God and your organs and your senses, so to speak. So you basically take care of, I mean, you don't do anything wrong with your senses, kind of a thing. So that's one thing. And also like Achalgar, you don't move. You just are very stable in what you're doing. And, Brahma Baba's lifestyle has really inspired me a lot. I mean, I heard senior brothers like Jagdish Pai. So that has really put me a little bit in terms of focus, in terms of vision. It is at least very clear what I need to do. But internal things that I need to work on personally, that I need to do myself. So, like today, Baba talked a lot about this Vanprasthi, right? Being a little bit in a retired stage. Now, though, I mean, as you age in life, in your body itself, you feel that, you're Vanprasthi kind of a thing. So, yeah, I mean, these were like some of the things that just came to my mind. And Baba's Murli of yesterday was just the foundation of life is all about love, love, and love. Sneh is the foundation, and Baba took us through out from the beginning to the middle and to the end. And he has like kind of made you very elevated. So this particular thing called midlife crisis, I feel Baba deals with these midlife crisis components every single day in the Murli. So psychologically, somehow or the other, subconsciously, you're getting, kind of, it helps you a lot already. You don't really need to address a lot. But yes, I mean, you have to identify, you have to, like you said, you have to honor your feelings, whatever funny things that keep coming in your head, whatever you see things, and, Baba says not to see wrong things, kind of a thing. So you just have to make sure that you stop that. If you do that, bits like you give your sense organs to Baba, you stop yourself from, treating yourself wrongly. So those are some of the things that came to my mind. And one more thing, which was lastly, was that, we have taken a lot from the yagya. Like when we came to the yagya, we were quite kind of became empty, and we were like having no meaning in life. But Baba has given a lot of, fulfillment and meaning to our life. So it's right now the time to kind of give what you have received, rather than just expecting that Aruna should give me, or this person should give me, or that person should give me, Yagya should give me, I should be respected, I'm a senior. I like your point of being so humble, I should say, Aruna, and for yourself, that, you are so humble in your approach towards that. You don't call yourself a senior. Indeed, I have really experienced that from you, I should say. So, just this component of this meaning, what Baba has given us a meaning in life. So now it's a time to just give and give, which Baba says, safal karo and safalta pao. So whatever resources and assets, or whatever little chit chat you have with yourself, you start, kind of giving it out. It'll make a lot of sense in your life, so to speak. Whatever little pennies you have, so I will like to just end with that. So that's my experience overall in general. So responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you.
Thank you, Aruna.
Anybody else wanted to share anything? Any of their experience?
Let me unmute them if they want to.
Or any question? Otherwise, we can have meditation and finish. Piyush, you want to say something?
I enjoyed listening to you, and I could connect with many of the points. Even I was just remembering one of the times when I finished my ACCA, and I worked 6 years with one of the big companies in UAE. And after that, I had to join my business. So my friends used to come and tell me, Piyush, what's happening with you? And so I was in that midlife crisis. It was about 27 to 31. That's what you said, the Saturn comes in. So even I was wondering where am I really in life? And then it just, everything falls in place now. And today my friends come up to me and they ask me that, how do you run business and all, so many questions. But I just tell them that it's just fallen itself in place. And I just tell them, keep trying, don't give up. And yeah, meditation really helped. So yeah, I could connect with that Saturn phase, really. So I believe in that. So the next one comes in 55 to 60. So I have a good time to escape from that.
No, but let me say though that maybe I didn't say it clearly, or maybe there wasn't enough time. But if you are dealing with your issues and being honest and facing and not resisting, then the Saturn return will not be heavy on you. You see, it's the people that deny, that resist, that reject, so that when the thing actually comes, we are forced to look at it then. So this is why being on the spiritual path and looking at our stuff, if we are dealing with it every day and acknowledging it, then the Saturn return will not be heavy. Yeah. So I just wanted to say that, Piyush, because you said I have time for the next one. But I think as Brahmins, as we keep, making that effort and changing, looking at stuff in the soul, I think we're making progress. Yeah. Okay, let's end.
Shanti, can I say something?
Yes, Naji. Yes, welcome.
Yeah, actually, a great talk, and it's more general than midlife, because I think it's managing the whole Brahmin life. You touched on every subject, even if you're not in midlife crisis. I mean, I can speak from personally. I'm new in Gyan 4 years, and I've passed with many of what you talked about. So this is great. I mean, it should be really covering everything. It doesn't only cover the midlife crisis. So yes, it's really very, very practical talk. Thank you, Dean.
Thank you, Naji.
Okay, it means we need part 2 now, maybe.
No, it's enough.
Part 2.
Okay, let's have a little meditation, a few minutes, 2 minutes, and then we finish. Thank you, everyone, for coming, listening, making the time. Will you play some music, Pavitra? So just take a seat in the center of the forehead. And we'll make this meditation about sitting in the seat of self-respect. So first and foremost, let me sit on the throne. On the throne of self-love. Let me open my mind. Let me allow Harvest light fill my heart. You are the one who has found me. You are the one and I'm so blessed I'm so blessed to have you as my guide, as my parent. Let me just stay in that bliss, Baba and I. Thank you. good sleep. Sleep in Baba's remembrance. Okay. Good night, Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Good night.
Good night. Om Shanti. Om Shanti, Didi. Thank you.
Om Shanti.
Thank you.
Vandana is up in India still? Vandana? You don't miss anything, huh?